Please welcome Jeff Schmidt from Schmidt Performance in Fort Collins, Colorado. You said it's about an hour outside of Denver. Is that right, Jeff?
Yep, hour north of Denver. It's pretty cold right now, and so there's not a lot of outdoor playing, but it's a great place to live and raise a family for sure.
I love it. That's the beauty of basketball too. We've got roofs and heating. That makes it a fun sport in the winter. But thanks for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me, Mitchell.
Absolutely. So Jeff, we've known each other for quite some time, mostly through Instagram, and I've really enjoyed what you've put out over the past few years and the training business that you've developed along the way. Can you give everybody a brief overview of what Schmidt Performance is now and what it was at its beginnings?
Yeah, really, I did not want to be a trainer. I did not want to be a businessman and an entrepreneur. It kind of just came to me. And, I've always been a basketball coach. So I started coaching right out of high school. I was 18 years old. I was playing college basketball. After practice, I would help at my alma mater, my high school. I had a job and I was going to school. So that was my first few years right after high school. And so I've been coaching ever since. I knew I wanted to be a coach. The best way to be a coach and to get paid well is to be a teacher. And so I decided to jump into education. I've been teaching for 22 years and been coaching longer than that, probably around 25 years or so. And so, I've had some really good coaches, mentors that really helped me along the way. And then the last 5.5 years, I jumped into the training business because I wanted to stay around the game. I was a high school head coach for over 10 years and just decided that my family, I have 2 boys, 11 and 9. I wanted to be around for them as much as possible. My time was getting short with them and they were growing up fast. And my legacy isn't going to be as a basketball coach. It's going to be as a father. And so, I want to make sure that that's the most important thing. And that's my priority. So stepped down from being a head coach and tried to figure out what I wanted to do around the game because I know I wanted to stay around the game of basketball. So my wife and my brother-in-law kind of threw out the ideas, why don't you just coach and train some individual players or, some groups and do some camps and clinics. And I said, I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know what a trainer really is. I know what a coach is. So I'm going to go and be a coach and do the best I can and see if it works. I didn't think it would work. I thought it'd be back into coaching, high school or college team here soon. But, started with one client, someone we knew, and just kind of grew it the last 5.5 years. And last summer we had about close to 90 clients
Wow.
in the gym, not at one time, but overall with the business. And really, word of mouth is going to be your best marketing tool. But like I said, I knew nothing about training or the business or anything really, how to be an entrepreneur, how to do anything. So I just started reaching out, started reading books, started jumping on the internet and trying to figure it out. And so it's been, a lot of ups and downs and a lot of messing up, but also a lot of good things as well that's come out of starting this business. And I love it. It's great. It's very rewarding. I like to say it's the best parts of coaching without all the BS. And so I love it.
That sounds like a good formula right there. I like how you talk about your first priority is the family time, being at home and knowing that is first priority, and then fitting in the love of the game in a capacity that complements that is, I think, a really cool way of thinking of it. Because I think, now training's in a point where people growing up, they look at it as a potential full-time position. But 20, 30 years ago, it wasn't as normal to be just a trainer right off the bat. If you want to be a basketball, maybe it was becoming a coach, getting involved with a team setting. And so as that's adapted and changed, you've adapted to what you want more out of your life to that model. And one thing I want to touch on, and I get the luxury of being a follower of yours on Instagram and seeing all the things that you post and can get a little bit of a feel for the style of training in the gym. Would love to know how, as a former high school coach, you've developed your style on the skill acquisition or the skill development side. You touched a little bit about that on the learning process, but how has that developed over the 5 years And how do you continue to keep learning in that regard?
Yeah, great question. So I really, when I started the training business, I really just said, I thought I knew a lot about basketball and I thought I could teach individual skill. I thought I didn't think I was great at it as a coach. I thought it was good at it. Kids become better shooters. I thought I could do this and add skill to their games as well as the team. But, I knew, now looking back, I knew nothing. I thought I knew a lot. I knew nothing. And so it was really, at first it was like, what is a trainer? What do they do? What does it look like? So what does everyone do? I did it. What a lot of people do. I look up, who are the best trainers out there? Who works with players? What does it look like? What do they do? And what's their philosophy? So basically it's like copy and paste, when I started, and after maybe, I don't know, 6 months, 7 months, I started to, this isn't what I want. This is not me. I'm a coach. I need to get down a road that I really feel comfortable, but there's got to be a different way of doing this. I just feel like, I was 40, I was in my 40s starting this. I wasn't a young buck. I wasn't out there, still playing every single day. So, I tried to find a fit for me. I had to go back to being myself. And then I wanted to find a way that wasn't like everyone else, the status quo, to go out there and give them a good, unique experience. Bottom line, they got to get better. They have to improve or
Sure.
this isn't going to work.
Right,
The,
right, right.
the proof has got to be in the pudding and what you do. So my basically set out a goal for myself is to learn as much as I could, to be more of myself, and to find a model that not only gets players better, but fits me a lot more. I'm not Gannon Baker. I'm not out there, making 100 shots in a row, like dribbling, a million times. So I was like, okay, how can I do this to, to help kids and be more myself? So I just kind of went down a rabbit hole. I started like learning, hey, let's create workouts that feel and look like a practice. So I want and feel and look like a game as well. Like that was the biggest thing. Kids don't come to me to try to get better for practice. They want to get better in games. So let's create kind of like a team practice game atmosphere environment that we can duplicate over and over again, but individualize it so that they can get individual and team skill out of it. That's what I knew. That's what I kind of went back to my roots. And that's kind of where I've been going down since then. And then along the way, I ran into the CLA, I ran into DL shooting, I ran into all this evidence-based basketball that I absolutely it just kind of synced with me. Principles of play, all those things kind of just, I was looking for those things anyway, to simplify things. And it's been really, really seamless as far as how I've grown the business and the model.
Yeah, I would love to take a segue to explore that a little bit more because I think for a lot of trainers out there, it's becoming more popular to hear terms like CLA, DL, which some people don't even know what that stands for. Constraints led approach, differential learning, usually applied in the shooting space. Can you give some brief overviews for a trainer that might not know what these things are or where to use them, but they're intrigued and interested, and give them maybe a little bit of the background on why you use them and why you feel like they fit with what you do?
Well, let me first start off by, I don't have a background in any of this. My background is coaching, education, but there is a lot of things that relate to education, the pedagogy side and DL and CLA. So, I kind of just different things that kind of fit into this realm of research-based and evidence-based, learning in basketball. So when I first started learning more about the CLA, I didn't think I loved parts of it because I thought it was a great way to learn and I thought it was different. But I really at first intimidated by the research and like trying to read articles. That's not my background. So I wanted to find people out there that knew it really well, like yourself, that could explain it in layman's terms that I could simplify even the layman's terms so I can give it to an 8-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 14-year-old, or a parent has no background in the CLA and doesn't understand it. How can I transfer on the court as well as explain to them what it is. And basically, what I say about the CLA, it's the performance side of basketball. It's the evidence and research of the performance side of basketball, and we basically try to create an environment that will help with the performance side. Ecological dynamics is more of the movement side. How can we become better movers? How can we make them a more fluid mover and better athlete on the court during games? The DL shooting part, I would explain it as variability of shooting. Shooting's not one way of doing something. If you watch good shooters, they shoot it different ways every game. They shoot, Steph Curry shoots 10 shots in a game. All 10 shots are going to look a little bit different. And basically what we try and do is make these guys more adaptable, add variability to their workouts and their shooting. So we want to make it very challenging, and we want to make every shot a little bit different, repetition without repetition. So I just try to find ways, Mitchell, to explain it to for me, because I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I gotta figure some of these things out and kind of go over it within my head so that I can explain it and I can apply it to the court. But I think that's the beauty of my training, is that every day is kind of a blank canvas, and we go out and I can kind of try different things. I can work with different players that I might have to change some things around. It's every day is a different challenge and a different application for what these guys are going to be learning. I might have a college player. I might have a third grader. And so it all applies. That's the beauty of it. But trying to simplify it, I think for me, has been the hardest part. And building as much knowledge based around those things, the CLA, ecological dynamics, and DL, among others, in a way that is digestible and that they can understand it as well as I can understand it. So I think that's what I try to go out and learn as much as possible. That's the challenge, I think.
100%. And you're applying it. And I think the proof, aside from more of the nerdy side and the research, is you are applying it. And the proof that it's working is your business keeps growing. People keep coming back. And I think another side of the more evidence-based ways of training is it's a lot more player focused, meaning it's a much more enjoyable experience for the player. And that's a good thing for the player, their own development, and your business model, which I would love to shift towards that and talk a lot about how you went from teacher, coach to teacher, trainer, and now you have an exciting next step that I would love for you to share with everybody on the podcast. And if you can touch on what's allowed you to make those adjustments and to free up your time, your most valuable asset, that would be awesome to hear.
Hey, I just want to take a quick break. My name's Russell. I'm one of the founders of CoachIQ. We put on this podcast here. Our goal is to interview top coaches and business owners in the youth sports space across the United States and give you guys insight on the ground floor. How are they running their business? What do they think about the current ecosystem? And what are their thoughts on where things are going? So we're super excited to bring this to you guys. If you don't know about us, we are an all-in-one sports management platform. We run a lot of the businesses that we have on the podcast. And we're fortunate enough now to work with about 1,000 sports coaches across the United States. And it's our goal to make your life as easy as possible in running the business itself. Website, scheduling, payment management, everything handled seamlessly on our platform. And really what separates us is we are built specifically for sports. We're not powering nail salons. We're not powering Pilates studios. Every second of the day, we focus on you. So if that's something you need, where you're looking to get your time back or you're looking to actually grow your business, CoachIQ is really the only platform thinking about you every single day, interviewing and working with the top coaches in the industry, specific to sports. So if that's something we can help you with, we would love to connect with you. You can visit our website, coachiq.com, schedule a free demo there. The demos are awesome. It's really less about selling and much more about just walking through what we've learned and providing value on what other coaches are doing. And if it's a match, it's a match. So absolute no-brainer. Go schedule a demo, totally worth the time. And thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for customers who are working with us. It allows us to do all this, make better product, and the main goal, help athletes all across the United States and the world get a phenomenal experience from you guys, the coaches.
When I started training in the business, it was really like, you can write me a check, you can just give me cash, and then it went to Venmo, and it was like every Sunday I was spending 5 or 6 hours texting potential clients, kids who've been with me, and trying to fit in. Okay, we're going to do a individual, we're going to do a group, like, trying to fit in, all of these things, and it was just like, this is a lot. And I don't think this is the right way to do this. It's taken me 6 hours to get a week worth of, training sessions dialed into my schedule. And so when I ran into CoachIQ, I was like, hey, can you guys help me like with these things? Because, I'm struggling with this. This is taking way too much of my time on a Sunday. I should be hanging out with my kids and my family. And I'm sitting here trying to get a schedule every Sunday. It was just too much. And it took so much, starting with CoachIQ, it took so much off my plate. My time freed up. I didn't worry about, hey, you haven't paid, or, you guys owe this, or here are my openings. And it's all done for you. And, my time is my most valuable, asset that I have in life. And so if my time is taken away doing things that are, just so mundane and so like time consuming, I just feel like I'm not being very productive. So it's made me more productive. It's given me more time, and going to a membership based pricing rather than individual is huge, because now you're committed. You got these players committed for a longer term, and you can really see their progress and get them better. And it could be more of a whole plan that you give out, rather than hope this person comes this week, or hey, I haven't seen you in 6 weeks, and here's another one-off session. You're not getting any better. I don't, we can't really work with you. You may or may not get better in this hour, but when you have them for multiple months, you can really help them and get them better. And that's really what it's all about. So I might have lost some clients because it wasn't as convenient for them. But I'll tell you what, I don't feel like I have. I probably added more to my client base because of the membership based, and it really has freed me up, and just really makes a lot of sense, and it makes it so much easier for me.
And if I'm not mistaken, in the next 6 months, your commitments and your work commitments specifically are going to alter. And is that because of the added freedom due to the membership model?
Yeah, I think so. When you have income coming in that you can count on, that about, that you can foresee, you can start to really dial in your year, as well as, hey, I have this much money. This is what we can do. This is what I have for rent. This is what I need to put aside for my coaches that are helping me. I have to buy some things here and there. I have income that's steady and that I can count on and plan ahead for over a longer period of time, rather than I hope this money comes in. And hope will not allow you to do this as a full-time gig. Hope will make you broke and have to find a different form of living. And so that's what I think it's been the best part of it, is that I'm getting income that's pretty steady, and that's something I can plan ahead for, and see the growth, and know these are my slower times. These are my peak times, and continue with that business model. And I love my business model. We got coaches that help me, that come into the gym, who work with our players, who have a really good idea of these clients that come in and what their plan is to get them better. And the environment feels and looks like a game as we're in there, and it's competitive. It's all small group. There's no individual. If there's only one person that signs up for a session, we might have an individual, but I have those coaches who can get out on the court and now create an environment that's full of decision making, reads. We can plan it however we want. So there's always going to be a good workout when they come. They know what they're going to get. And then I can also plan ahead and make sure I have enough coaches there, because my schedule's planned out for me ahead of time through CoachIQ. So I love my business model. It's different than what most trainers do. Most trainers are by themselves, or might do a lot of one-on-ones, and really it's all small group, because I want it to feel and look like a game. So we want that context every single time they step into the gym with us.
The consistency and the predictability, both for you and for your players, I feel is a huge differentiator. You from a lifestyle aspect and from an ability to allocate your resources properly, allocate your attention properly. You know what's going to go on, you know who's going to show up, you know what they need to work on, and you can create the environment. And for the client, they have a consistent plan over time where it's not just that one workout and they hope they get some gem that's going to be transformational. It's not how improving works. You just got to get graded exposure to the scenarios that you're going to be placed in the games. And so I think that makes a ton of sense on all fronts, from you as a coach trying to make people better, from you as a business person, you as a father. I think it's a gem that many trainers should pick up on and consider looking into even more. And now I would love for you to speak on, you got the two boys that are hoopers themselves, and I know they're busy. Can you talk about your involvement with their development and their teams and your weekly schedule and how much time you get to spend with them?
Yeah, so my boys, they love all sports, which I pull for kids playing multiple sports. That's such a huge thing in so many ways. But yeah, I get my coaching fix coaching my two boys teams. We got a third grader and we got a fifth grader. So we got a 11 and under team and we have a 9 and under team. And so they're out there doing, full blown CLA practices, full blown, like just skill development, team development, transformational coaching. We're doing the whole nine. And again, I have this autonomy with my business model that I can kind of just interweave the team concepts with these players too. And most of them I've been with for a couple years. Some of them I've been with my oldest son's team, been with almost 4 years. And the last 2 years we've been full CLA with them and in practices. And man, they have gotten so much better. So an example would be my fifth grade team when we first, like 2 years or a year and a half ago, they played the same teams and get beat by 30. This season, we're playing the same exact team, same coaches, but we're running different, we're running the CLA. We are beating those teams now that were beating us a year and a half ago by 30. So we're seeing an improvement. The parents see the improvement. The players are definitely improving, and it is so much fun, man. It's brought the joy back into basketball is what I like to say. I haven't had this much fun coaching and doing my business since I probably started playing basketball in like the fifth grade. And
Absolutely.
So it just makes it fun. The kids, and here's an example. Kids I have, they gave me a Christmas card and 3 boys signed it and they wrote a little something, and each of them wrote something a little bit different, but to the point of, I love coming to practice. I love going to practice every day. And a lot of kids don't say that. A lot of kids don't say that for a lot of reasons. One, probably because of coaches, because of traditional coaching. And they're not having fun in practice. They're doing the same drills, the boring, mundane stuff that they can't stand. And then on top of that, in games, their coaches are yelling and screaming at them on the sideline, acting like a fool. So, it's like you're taking the joy slowly out of this game for some of these kids. And my whole goal is for them to get better, number one, and number two, really enjoy their experience. It's so important that they enjoy the game, because now if they enjoy it and they're having fun and getting better, man, the sky's the limit as far as their development. They're going to love the game. So that's kind of and we practice, twice a week. We have games on Sundays, every other Sunday right now. And I'm really just combining all the things that I've learned through principles of play. We're keeping it very simple. We don't run plays. We don't run any plays. We run an out of bounds play or two. And we're just running, out of principles. And the kids are getting so good at it. They're becoming really smart players, and their IQ's through the roof for their age. And we're not the most tall or talented team, but man, they have fun. They enjoy playing together. And it's just, it's been a big fulfillment for me that I could still coach my kids, be a father, and satisfy my love for the game of coaching and being a teacher. So in a good place. But this is a long road for me. This is a 5-year, road of trying to figure things out. This is not something that I just took off right away and I had it all figured out. It's taken time. And so for any trainer that's probably young out there and they're looking to do it full time, or they're looking to see if they can make this work, you have to have patience, man. You have to build it up. It's just like anything. You're not going to, it's okay to not know all the answers, but man, you got to be curious. And I think that's a strength of mine, is I'm super curious about getting better and making players better. And so, it's growing every day, learning something new, getting out of your comfort zone, learning the CLA when I have no background in it. I have no business learning this stuff, but I know that it works. Okay. It makes a bunch of sense. And man, the more I do it, the more I get better at it. And I have the lab to do it. I have the teams on the team side and I have the training side. So every day I can just explore, try new things. Hey, that sucked. We're not doing that again. Or, hey, man, I can just tweak this a little bit. Boom, let's go. And it's something new every time they come into the gym, man. It's not the same drill. It's different. But they know it's going to be competitive and they're going to get better and they're going to have fun. That's it. They're smiling in practice. They're smiling in workouts. Man, that's when you're doing a good job. If they're not smiling, you might want to change it up.
For sure. At our gym back home with Elevate Basketball is my business, and we have 3 pillars, and we call them the pillars of problem solving, because I think basketball is all about problem solving, and that's the beauty of the game. It teaches you to become a really good solution finder. It's joy, responsibility, and awareness, and you need all 3. And I think many times the traditional approach to basketball does strip away joy. And that's a message that's becoming more apparent with guys maybe in the NBA burning out. The Luka Doncic Foundation is trying to provide a little bit of support for that idea that, basketball is a fun game. And at its core, the reason we play it is because it's fun. And so I think when you talk about your sons playing and their friends having so much fun, that makes me so happy to hear, because the reality is 99% of basketball players that are playing in the 3rd grade, they're not going to go on to play probably past high school. So hopefully they have a really good experience. But the funny part of that, and the paradox, is if you have fun early on, you're going to play a lot more. And if you play a lot more, you're going to get a lot better. And there's probably a better chance you do go on and play after college. So from a development perspective, I think fun is a required ingredient to helping players reach their potential. And it sounds like everything that you've set up for your sons and for your business has incorporated that. And it's been a very rewarding thing for the players and for your own self, because there are way too many unhappy coaches out there. And that is a fact.
Just watch them. Just watch them. If there's a coach out there that always looks mad, pissed off, they're not being themselves, or they're miserable. And I don't want to be miserable. I don't want to be miserable.
Sense.
I want to have a good time. I want to enjoy what I'm doing. So you watch Luka Doncic, and when he plays, he smiles all the time. He's laughing. He's having a great time. I don't know if there's anyone that shows more like they're having fun out there than Luka. And so I'm glad that he's doing what he's doing, and you can just watch him play, and you can see the joy and love that he has, and how much fun he's having out there. And so. Yeah, let's make more players, enjoy it like Luka.
Absolutely. And he does go to the opposite side of the spectrum too with the refs, but
he does.
Maybe he's
does.
working on that. But his creativity is through the roof, and I think what you see from him from a skill perspective, like we talked about earlier, the reason he has so many different solutions is because he treats the game like a game. He plays. And by definition, play is something that is fun, creative. You're taking what's in the environment and you're making the most of it in the present. So Luke is a great example of everything you do at Schmidt Performance, teaching players to be adaptable, to be present, to deal with the constraints in the environment. I think Luke is a good example of that in the NBA. So, Jeff, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. If there are any listeners that want to connect with you, or maybe some players that are close by, what's the best place to see what your business is about or contact you?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram quite a bit. So Schmidt Performance on Instagram. You can find me there, or you feel free to email me at schmidtperformance@outlook.com. And I share everything I have. There's no secrets to this. There's no holding back. I want to help others be successful, and we're in the business of helping others. So please feel free to reach out anytime. I can help in any way I can, and just reach out.
I love it. I will second that for you, Jeff. I think the past few years, you've been one of the best at being curious, asking questions, being responsive. And I've heard a term that's been thrown around. I think it's a CNP, certified nice person. I would say, Jeff, you are a certified nice person. So
I appreciate that, Mitchell. That's a good compliment, man. My mom would be proud of me for sure.
I love it. I love it. All right. Until next time, thanks for listening to the podcast.